Things that you did not know about House MD. Did you ever watch the show House MD?
No, like I said, I did not. I knew a lot of people that loved it.
I mean, I watched it when it finally hit syndication. I do still love it. I watch it a lot. It's very formulaic. They go through 55 minutes of an episode, and then all of a sudden something random happens in front of him that makes him think of this thing, and then they solve the case. It's pretty much how it goes.
Like all Fox shows at that time?
Exactly.
Phones, everything.
So it debuted on Fox November 16th, 2004. It totaled 8 seasons, 177 episodes before it wrapped up on May 21st in 2012. Now, when Hugh Laurie first auditioned for the role, the show was called Chasing Zebras. And Laurie didn't think that House could be the main character. He actually thought that it would center around his best friend, Wilson, who's right here. Now, if you've never thought of this, House is essentially Sherlock Holmes. He's got a drug problem. He loves solving puzzles. House, Holmes. His best friend is Wilson. Sherlock's was Watson. The parallels are
He's
endless.
English with an American accent?
Well, no. Sherlock Holmes had a British accent. He was British.
I'm just saying. He was English.
So the network never pushed back against making House unlikable. It's really something that they worked on. But they did tell the writers that they needed to create an enemy, which then led to Edward Vogler, played by Chi McBride. He was in, I believe, season 2. I think, if I'm getting that wrong, let me know down in the comments. I think it was season 2. He comes in, he donates a bunch of money to the hospital. They constantly butt heads. Chaos ensues, and House solves a bunch of problems.
The corporate enemy, of course.
So the writers originally fought over what House's injury was. Do you know why he had a cane?
They have like a disease, like brittle bone disease or something?
No, he had a muscle. There was like a blood clot in his leg, and he had a muscle removed. And so he's in constant pain. So he uses a cane, which is why he also has a Vicodin problem. They just knew, even though they couldn't figure out what to do with the injury, they knew that there was something, there should be something, but they weren't sure what, and even toyed with the idea of putting him in a wheelchair. Now, that is something that did happen eventually later on when he loses his parking space to a woman who's in a wheelchair. So he makes a bet that he can stay in that wheelchair for a specific amount of time. But then they realized that if he was in the wheelchair full time, that was going to be too limiting. So they gave him a cane. They also discussed giving him a scar, like one that was visible. But then that meant that the makeup department would have to recreate that for every single scene, every single day of shooting, and that was going to be too much. So they went away from that.
Oh. I like he has, what is that? Shirt said Blades of Glory or something on it?
Blades of Glory, what?
I think his shirt said Blades of Glory on it. Which would have been funny because he was in a wheelchair.
No, it's blue-gray.
Is it?
Yeah.
I like Blades of Glory.
And we'll I'll tell you what, we'll stick with Blades of Glory.
They missed out. You suck, Hollywood, again.
Jesse Spencer and Jennifer Morrison, who played Chase and Cameron, they did actually get married in real life. They also got married in the show, but the show version lasted a lot longer than the real life version. I just recently was going back and rewatching all of House. And normally I would just, like when it was on TV, you just kind of catch episodes here and there, but I was watching it. It was on Hulu, starting with episode 1, going all the way through. And then I realized that it is tough to get through it because she is just fucking annoying. She's the worst. Like, just the fucking worst. Oh my God. And he's the worst for liking her.
I mean, look at him.
God. They finally brought in Olivia Wilde, and you're like, I can tolerate you. She was just super
she's in
fucking...
that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think we just piqued Frank's interest.
What season did that start?
I think it might have been 5.
Okay.
All right, well, we know Frank's going to go check out some House MD. And finally, the writers almost took out House in the series finale. Instead, the show ends where Wilson is it's oncology, right? Oncologist that deals with cancer?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Again, if I got it wrong, let me know in the comments. So that's the kind of doctor that he
Cancer
is.
doctor.
And then, spoiler alert, when he gets to the final season, he finds out that he has cancer and he only has 6 months to live. House at this point is about ready to go to prison. Wilson's upset that you're going to spend my final days in prison. House fakes his own death. And then they go right off into the sunset on motorbikes. It's literally how the show ends.
Sounds like a true story.
I was not a big fan of it. But if you don't mind the formulaic kind of shows, it's not terrible. It's a,
You know what he should have done
enjoyable.
on his motorcycle?
Lube it?
Headed down a road and headed towards a semi, and then just put his arms out and put his head back, and have who's the bald guy, have the Thing from the old Fantastic Four movies hit you with his semi.
Oh, jeez. Is that who that was driving the semi truck?
Yeah, it was Michael Chit.
No, I don't think I remembered that.
It
No
was.
shit.
He was like friends with with Kurt Strutter, because I guess he wrote some of those cop.
Kurt Sutter,
excuse me. He wrote some. I'm thinking of the guy from MTV.
You mean Kurt Loder?
Loader, Strutter, Zevgo.
By the way, we're talking about the ending of Sons of Anarchy. For anybody who clearly did not follow that train of thought that happened right there and doesn't know the ending of Sons of Anarchy, it ends with him basically just driving into the front of a semi, which I've always thought was really messed up, dude.
He's getting chased by cops. Decides, you know what? I got no wife, but I got a kid. But guess what? Yeah.
I'm about to go destroy this semi truck driver's life because I'm going to plaster myself.
Yep, I'm making myself pizza on the highway.
Oh, Jesus.